I'm an American. You're an American. It's election day, and this is the Fest Podcast, Jared.
Are you sure I'm American?
That's only a question that you can answer.
Oh, yeah, I can answer. I got
Did you vote?
I did.
Then I guess that the little sticker on your shirt says you are.
The state of Arizona said I'm an American.
It's official, man. It's official.
You voted too.
Of course I did, right here.
And we got the
right there.
Official
tally or going.
Results. Yeah, just because, I'm an ex-Politico guy and I want to know what the results are. I don't know why we decided to do this other than I said, yeah, it'd be no problem. And then we got here today to record and all I want to do is look at the election.
So just so all of our listeners know that we do this and we cut it on Tuesday. And so all of our YouTube viewers know we obviously cut this on Tuesday and that is election day. So that's where we're at. That's why we're talking about it. And I did ask you, Jared, I'm like, this is like your Super Bowl time.
Right.
Do you really want to cut this on a Tuesday? And you're like, yeah, not a problem. No big deal.
And then I got here and I'm like, why are we here? And
I said,
looks like you said we could do it. And I was like, don't listen to me. Just make executive decisions on my behalf.
Oh, I wanted to do it on Tuesday. I actually gave you the leeway to say no. And you said, yeah, I want to, let's just do it.
Let's just do it. And get, what would we have done? We would have done it on Monday or Wednesday and would have felt weird. And
well, what's good? Our light jumper boys are here and they're hanging out with us and they're watching the polls as they're look at they got it all going on. All right, Jacob's guys. Here, Trace is here.
Give us some updates as they come in. All right,
it'll be fun. Let's sound check it.
All right, so we're going to be talking some Indie Country Fest updates.
Yeah, really cool. There's some stuff that we haven't really focused on in the past because
I didn't even know we had extra large camping spots.
Yeah, so you jump in the gun.
Well, let's tell the people what we're going to talk about here, right? I think that's better than just saying, Indie Country Fest update and blah, 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 this. And blah, blah,
XL camping. Yeah, we are going to talk about that. And we're going to do a little bit details on that. And we have some other things that we'll
Festival
talk about.
Update's fun because you and I and Scotty all went out and hung out with the people.
Flying E Ranch, Tracy Bird concert. It was awesome. Live music. This wasn't in our car. We weren't having to stay
Tito's
7 million feet away.
Tito's
Tonic.
There was a bonfire. There were girls country dance, and it was a good time.
Yeah, it really was. Talked to the owner. Talked to Tracy Bird's manager, hooked up with all those people. Actually, 96.3 Real Country, talked to them too. That was a good time.
Yeah, you were Mr. Networker out there, so that was awesome.
Well, I don't like big timing people. If I know you, I'm going to talk to you.
Unlike some guys we know here, we're big timers.
Headliner was great.
Yeah, that was a good one. This is a me, right?
That is a you.
This is one for me. We're talking ASU football, but I kind of snuck it in under the Shane Smith and the Saints and Billy Bob's in Texas. So, just a little.
So we do talk country music. We talk Billy Bob's. We talk ASU Pac-12 football that opens up this weekend too.
We check all sorts of boxes in this podcast, right?
It actually is really cool though, but it's all real relevant. Like people getting together, people all of a sudden starting new things, like whether it's a football season, whether it's all of a sudden going to Tracy Bird.
ASU plays this weekend, so it was very timely.
At USC.
Yep.
That's a good one. I enjoyed that.
And then Ralphie's going to give us his top 3 presidents. So that'll be good.
Oh, you just told him what it was.
Yeah, why not? We want to keep him involved, dude.
That is a good one as well. That's fun. It's always talking to Ralphie. And then stage left, we're going to talk about our Halloween recap.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think Halloween turned out better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was a good time. CTAs. Jared, how can they find us?
On all of your podcasting sources. Apple Podcasts. Go there. Please subscribe, leave a review because that gets us into the almighty algorithm, lets people find us, and actually lets us know people that are listening. So we want to show up and do this every week.
Then also on our YouTube, flip over to our YouTube. You can see us live and watch the podcast there. And for our first 100 subscribers, we are going to put you in a drawing for, who knows, it will be festival tickets around the nation as those things open up. Also, what we're going to do, we need to get 100 subscribers by actually those
we need to do some work on this.
Are listening to it right now. It's dropping at noon, so you're listening to it. So by the end of the day today, which would be November 6th, at that time when you're listening to this, we need another 50 subscribers so Ralphie can jump into a nurse's outfit and go live with us on the podcast.
The podcast, that would be great, but we got some work to do on our subscribers.
Let's vote our way into the ND Country Fest updates brought to you by Lee Jershewski.
Wow, good job. 2 podcasts in a row.
Find your keys with Lee. Extra large camping. That's what we're gonna. That's usually you come in. You're out of it. Jared's out of it. He's
I was not out of
election,
it.
Election.
You looked at me like I was supposed to play an ad there or something. So
no, I thought you were gonna say extra large camping.
Extra large camping.
So let's talk about that. For some of you that don't know, we do have extra large camping at ND Country Fest, which is in July up in North Dakota. So what that brings is double the size of your regular one. It gives you a lot more space to spread out.
So we've been doing these lives and updates and all this stuff for what, a year and a half now, 2 years?
That's right.
And I never knew we had extra large camping.
We've never had to talk about it because they've sold out usually by January.
So we're just trying to get them to sell out a little bit earlier.
Bit earlier because there's not many left. There's barely any left.
We're trying to find stuff to do updates about, I suppose.
Well, it's true, right? But we also are talking about stuff that's getting tighter of, where it won't be available shortly.
If you want it, get it.
Yeah.
And that's why you get an extra large camping spot.
Well, right, because you can bring a lot more people. You can set up your camp, right? And a lot of people like to decorate a ton, and they like to set up a bar and set up their grilling site, and all of a sudden
I want a hot tub.
All of a sudden, they put their hot tubs on there.
What?
Yeah, and actually a lot of them bring those mini pools.
Oh, really?
So if you get an extra large one, which is double the size of a regular,
then you're not cramped. You can have your camping spot. You can have your hot tub spot. You can have your bar spot.
Spread out and do all that stuff. So like in VIP, there isn't many left.
Okay.
And then in Frontier, there are some. So there gives you an option. But you want to jump into that extra large. We call it have your extra large party at your campsite.
Nice. Why not?
Yeah, you can check that out and you get your, hey, what also is good is tickets for the holiday, right? So
everybody likes tickets, right?
Yeah, tickets are great. VIP tickets, there's some VIP tickets still available.
You got to really like that person if you're going to buy VIP tickets.
Actually, in our show is very reasonable. So
horribly reasonable for VIP.
Yeah, so it's not that. You can kind of like them and get
you can look like a freaking saint and not have to spend a whole lot of money making them feel like a VIP.
It's very true.
Why wouldn't you do it?
So you can jump on and grab those VIP tickets for your Christmas gifts. You can even GA your Frontier campsite, your VIP extra large campsite.
Right.
You go to ndcountryfest.com.
There's a plethora of things for you to buy for Christmas. Yeah. Just one-stop shop.
Go check that out. And also what you'll be able to see shortly on ndcountryfest.com is a link to our podcast and all of our videos.
We're going to have a landing spot?
That's right.
So how's the McConaughey thing going?
So Matthew McConaughey, you are invited to ND Country Fest 2021. You skipped our great state of North Dakota. You went to all 49 states except for Austin. That was maybe like 10 years ago. But that's okay. We want you to come back. Bring the Airstream. Bring the canoe. We want you to be there. You want to enjoy that ND Country Fest good time and that North Dakota nice. There are, I know that there's many people who have reached out to him.
Have they really?
Yes, and it's been great.
Has he responded at all?
Nobody's responded at all. He has not, but we're going to just keep grinding it out all the way to the show, and you never know. Matthew McConaughey.
I bet it'll happen. Luke Luck is going to reach down. He's going to find something to chuckle about, and then he's going to be like, all right, I'm going.
He'll probably watch the podcast.
All right, Luke. I'm going to the festival.
All right. Let's hear more about Lee Jershewski, Jared.
What sets me apart is I like to interact with my 8 clients a little bit more, maybe just actually become more friends with them than just a client business relationship. I'd probably have to say it'd be Who Hut just because I like the food and my daughter absolutely loves it. I chose real estate because I like to help people and it's fun, it's exciting, it can be stressful, but it's always good to just find a solution to a problem.
All right, we're riding into festival news around the world.
Right? And it wasn't around the world. It was 45 minutes northwest of our general location?
I was driving, so it was about 30 minutes west of Phoenix.
It was quick, right?
Wickenburg, Arizona.
It was crazy.
Flying E Ranch.
For being that close to Metro Phoenix, it seemed like a whole different world.
It completely is.
I felt as soon as we got out there, I felt like I was back in Cody, YO, and just a small town feel.
Well, and that's what a lot of people, when we were talking about that on our drive out there, but it was as soon as you get about 30 miles outside of Metro.
30 minutes from my house, and we were in small town USA.
It's very rural, which I enjoy because that's how I grew up too.
It was funny because we were going, and I had very minimal expectations for what we were attending on a Wednesday night in Wickenburg, Arizona. And I was thinking, all right, we'll go out. There's going to be 25 people. It'll be all right. I don't know who this Tracy Bird guy is. Whatever we're doing. Obviously, good time. We both got
you
shirts.
got a t-shirt. Must have had a blast.
I did. You offered to buy it. I'm like, no, this is a good show.
I wanted you to spice up your wardrobe for the show
with a little country.
Yeah.
So
I was hoping you would just say, no, I'll buy yours too. And I was like, oh, but that didn't happen.
We go through small town Wickenburg, and it reminds you of picturesque, whatever a small town is. We get on a dirt road. And then
wait, let's first say we're going to the Tracy Bird concert at Flying E Ranch.
At Flying E Ranch. We get off the dirt road or the road to the Flying E Ranch. We come around the corner and we're thinking we're an hour early maybe. And the parking lot is jam-packed.
Over 100 cars there.
Big lights. And I'm just sort of like, whoa, what are we getting into?
And I was like this. Yeah.
Woo! So we go up and, get our tickets. We get temperature checked on
Thank you, Angie, for having us at the Flying E Ranch.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you for the tickets. We appreciate that.
She had the warm hands. And
you had the warm hands.
And so then
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. But it was, go in. There must have been, 250, 300 people there?
Oh yeah, easy. 250, 300. It's a great setting, and it's a really, it's an old Western setting. It is a ranch. Obviously, it's an operating ranch.
It's very touristy. Like they have the Old West facade behind you. They had a nice bar. And then the cool pavilion, right?
Yeah, and that's where the main stage is, on that main pavilion. If you watch our live on our Facebook on the Fest podcast page, or the Indie Country Fest one, we went live on there too, and you can see it. And Jared shot it, and it was a really good layout. I like the pavilion.
Look good.
Thanks.
With the backdrop and the music
and the lights and the people.
Yeah.
What was really cool was when we went in there, is that everybody was really respectable of everybody's space.
Yeah, it was crazy. Cigar friendly crowd, so I was very happy.
Because usually you catch hell for the cigar smoke.
Yeah,
right?
well, I wait to see what the crowd's like, and there were 5-10 other people smoking cigars around me. So I was like, okay.
Now with country people,
right?
We're all and so go ahead, man.
All right,
do your thing.
I'm going to be at a country concert. I'm going to enjoy myself. So I lit up a cigar. Halfway through, a lady came over and asked if I could get a light. And, stood back.
She did. She was quite a ways away. Yeah. I think you didn't hear her either right away. Wasn't that right?
Yeah.
Or something? You're like, huh?
What do you want? And then I had to figure out.
Which 20 pockets to dig into you had your coat?
I was wearing the tactical vest or the tactical jacket with 25 pockets. And so apparently I slipped it into the very last pocket.
But you did have the mic and you had the stand.
I had the mic, I had the stand.
You had the other
I was the Sherpa
and all that. It was good.
Yeah. And, everybody gave everybody their space. If you're a VIP, they had seats for you up on the pavilion. Mm-hmm. If you weren't, then you could bring your own chairs, which we didn't.
I move around anyway, so I wasn't going to sit down. I usually don't.
But you could have brought your chair sat tailgate style out there next to the bonfire.
Yeah, super cool bonfire that they had out there.
And they were just friendly. Who was it? Brandon Lee?
Yep, Brandon Lee opened up for Tracy Bird there. And it was acoustic. It wasn't full band, but it was all just a great
But it was great. We were recording. I was getting ready to record, and some of the locals, because he's a Wickenburg local, are like, hey, this is Brandon Lee. You should get a hold of him. He's really, really good.
And we are going to have him on.
Yeah, we're going to have him on. And, he was a good dude talking to him.
So on that whole experience there, it was a great event because it was the first live event that I've been to with live music ever since the shutdown. We came into that thing. There was 250 to 300 people. It was so relaxed. It was so welcoming, if you want to say that where there was, everybody gave each other space. The show was going on. You could go and get a beverage. You weren't overcrowded whatsoever. People kind of, like I said, they gave their space. If you went and ordered a drink, they just backed off a little bit, and then you gave them the space. Same thing with the bathrooms. They had hand sanitizer everywhere. It was outside, obviously, and it was great.
Wasn't it kind of like somebody just turned back the dial a year and we were just back to normal times?
So when I walked in there, I was like, all smiles. I was like, I'm in the element.
Shocked.
I am on this. I'm just gonna enjoy every damn minute of this.
I walked in and had to take a second and kind of had to adjust my mindset, because I was like, whoa, that's a lot of people. Do I want to be around a lot of people? I was okay with the 25 people I thought that were going to be there in my brain.
I was hoping there wasn't going to be. In my mind, there's maybe 100. I was like, okay, 100 would be good for Wednesday. I don't know what the feel is and how many people would come out for it.
But you've got some vested interest in it.
Oh, of course.
The more people that are out watching live music, the better off Indie Country Fest is going to do down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
In my mind, and I'll be legitimately honest, I had no idea who Tracy Byrd was. I was going in completely virginal or blind or whatever you want to call it.
Deaf?
Yeah,
we'll say?
Sort of.
You never heard it.
Never heard it.
Yeah.
I was just going because content, and you needed a Sherpa to carry the camera.
And I wanted to go to the concert.
And you wanted to go, and I'm like, it's a Wednesday night. What else am I going to do? Right. And there was a bit of a moment where I was like, oh, okay, what are we doing? And then you're like, you comfortable?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I just need a moment to take this all in. And it was more... I think it was more the whole.
Oh, of course.
We're urban Phoenix, right?
You haven't been any. Well, neither have I. Nobody's been anywhere
just
to
been
live.
in urban Phoenix, which is way different from like California or whatever you're at, right? So, and I think we're at a little bit of difference. But when you get out to rural Arizona, it was a literal time shift to a year ago. It hadn't felt that normal in a long, long time.
Right. And I think it was good. I think for more of the people that get out to those type of shows where it is controlled and they can go out and have that good time that they've been wanting for 7 months, however long it's been. I think whenever that person makes that decision, so, yep, I'm going to go and experience live music again or a live event again, you're all going to feel that little bit of apprehension because you haven't done it for so long.
Well, yeah. And, I'll be honest, Tracy Byrd was really good. He's got that 90s sound, right? And there were a couple songs that I have heard of or had been through, like the Watermelon Crawl, maybe. I've heard that. And then the Tequila song, whatever that one was, I've heard.
4 rounds of Jose Cuervo.
What about the Party Bone? Something's connected.
Oh, yeah.
So some of those songs I had heard before. I just hadn't connected it to him.
So I'm a big fan of Tracy Byrd.
Right.
And I can tell all of you right now that it was just straight acoustic and he sounded amazing. He sounded like he did back in 1990 or even when he had all those #1 hits.
He sounded great.
The one thing I was impressed with and I wasn't ready for was the cool covers that he did.
Yeah, he did a little Buffett. Dukes of Hazzard, maybe?
It was the Dukes of Hazzard theme song. It was
straight.
Poncho and Lefty. He did not do any George Strait.
I'm pretty sure he did.
No, I think you think it was George Strait, but it was his own. Keeper of the Stars is his song.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But I was impressed with that. I was impressed with the performance. We actually met up with his tour manager and talked to him for quite a while. Super great guy,
That guy was great. Because you're awesome. Just like, hey, you guys are still under lockdown here. And you're like, I don't know. It doesn't feel that bad here, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're playing everywhere. And it was, honestly, if they'd had a full band there,
it would have been rocking.
It would have been a rocking show.
Yeah, it'd have been.
Right. It was a
full.
great acoustic show.
Oh, it was.
Like
and people are still singing and dancing, like you said.
There was a couple there that danced. It was their 40th anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
They got
up
and danced and sang, and the crowd was giving him a little bit of heck, wanting him to sing a song. And
he said, this is my first time doing this.
First rodeo.
Yeah, I do that song at the end, buddy, and then you can go home. That was great.
He played the crowd. It was, it was great. And that place is great. They're doing Thanksgiving there. It reminds me of a place outside of Cody that we used to go to for Easter with my mom and dad.
Yep.
Called the Flying Skytel. And we go up there and my mom would get us all dressed up in our Easter whatevers. And we loved going out there. So I think this Easter, I'm going to take her out there as, I guess, sort of a surprise if she's not watching or listening, and go out there because Angie does a great job.
Oh, Angie is great. And that whole experience out there, you can do horseback riding, like you said, and they can do the meals on Thanksgiving and
Angie
Christmas.
Went live with Steak Fry last weekend where they had people and live music out there.
And there's stagecoach rides for kids. There's all kinds of things out there. You should check it out at flyingeranch.com. That's Wickenburg, Arizona. Experience that. Experience the West, especially if you are, if you're in here in Phoenix and listening to us, get out there. It's a great experience.
If you've never experienced what it's like to be Western, it's a good way to go.
Oh, it's fun. One thing I do want to bring it back to is the crowd, and when Tracy Byrd was performing, and what I usually watch is the crowd. Not necessarily always the performer.
Well, that's the best part of a show, right? Is people watching.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to what I always want to look at the reaction to the performance.
Okay.
And what was great to see, and what made me feel great about it is when I was watching the crowd and watching the people and seeing them, they were smiling, they were laughing, they were singing, and they were having fun with their friends, and they were enjoying life. They were loving it.
Well, we had
And
a
it
good
was
time. We just
awesome.
chattered the whole way home and talked about how great it was. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was good. But that what brings back to it. You can't replace live music and what you feel about it when you're there with a good group of people
So
and
different than
entertainment.
live streaming.
Oh,
Right?
I'm glad you agree.
100%. Like, it's 100%. I would rather see a live show than live streaming. But if I can't get a live show, I like live streaming.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, right, Jared?
Right.
Brothers and sisters, I hear you asking yourself day after day, what am I gonna have for lunch? Do I want another burger? No. Do I need another taco? No. Brothers and sisters, may I introduce you to Bruno's Pizza. Pizza is the bread of endless possibilities. What can go on a pizza can go in a calzone wrap. Look beyond a pepperoni, 32 pizzas and a snack. If you like heat, try the Lava Hawaiian. Marauder Pizza is also kicking. You need Bruno's Pizza in your life. Let the humble Bruno's Pizza lift you up from your hunger and deliver you into the realm of satisfaction. East Front Avenue, online at brunosnd.com. Can I get a napkin?
Here we are. We're cooking into our headliner, brought to you by Bruno's Pizza, $15.99 any large. Order yours today at brunosnd.com. Jared, our headliner today. This is your great get.
That's another gift for me.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, you're 2 for 2, man.
I know. Look
If it
at
was
that.
baseball, you're killing it.
I know. I'm hitting up the ASU roots, the Tempe roots. It's good.
We have an Arizona State football insider with us. He hosts the most popular podcast, Speak of the Devils, where you can get all your ASU football information and everything and all your updates on the daily right there, Speak of the Devils. We have him, Mr. Joe Healey. Joe, thanks for joining us today.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, we're taking away from your election viewing right now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's fun as exciting as that would be. I think I'd rather talk about country music than college football.
Right? I think I'd like to talk about any ASU or football right now. So
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, we were talking about live venues opening. We talked about the Ryman. We talked about Billy Bob's, Canes, and some of those things. And in that podcast, we talked about Shane Smith and the Saints playing at Billy Bob's. And lo and behold, 2 days later, I'm checking my Facebook feed, and there's Joe flying out to Texas to go see Shane Smith and the Saints at Billy Bob's. And I'm immediately texted you. It's like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, we got to get this guy on.
I was like, get him.
So
Call him now.
I reached out to him, and he immediately popped on and said, yeah, I'll do it anytime. So I really appreciate that, because we love talking about people going out and seeing live music.
And Billy Bob's. Joe, tell us, how was that? How was the show at Billy Bob's?
Man, it was awesome. I mean, just to get back to seeing live music, and I mean, I know everybody's kind of racking their brains on the last time they went to a concert. For me, it was actually at Billy Bob's. I saw Whiskey Myers there.
I'm a huge fan of Whiskey Myers.
They're killer.
We're going next time.
Right?
Yeah.
So I saw them. It was a little bit before. It was like a week or two before. It was early February.
Okay.
So it'd been a while, but that was kind of not too far long before the lockdown. A lot of people have been going, better part of a year. So just to see music, let alone at one of the best venues that you can be at for country music, and for the people that were there in the band, I mean, you could tell Shane Smith and the Saints, I mean, they absolutely put everything they have into it. It's the first time I've seen them. I've heard nothing but good things, so it might be just kind of how they operate.
Right.
Man, it was spectacular. You can even see the things they're posting on social media afterward about how much it meant to them. I'd seen they'd done a few shows beforehand, but it's hard to compare to Billy Bob's. So the concert was incredible. The setup was great. All things considered, it was safe, and you had the distance, and you had all that kind of thing. So it wasn't something that I think anybody who attended or who might have been skeptical of whether or not it should have been held, if it was going to be a safe environment or not, it was. So all things considered, it was awesome.
So you went to Billy Bob's pre-COVID and post-COVID. What was the biggest difference?
I would say the biggest difference I'd say the biggest difference for me happened to be just with really the seats that I had and the experience that I personally had. So with Whiskey Myers, we just had general admission,
right.
and that was the first time I'd been to Billy Bob's, and I'm like, okay, GA is going to be fine. You go to concerts GA all the time. I didn't realize how big Billy Bob's is. So being GA,
what's it like? I've never been or seen it.
I mean, it's just a massive, massive venue to where, at least where me and my friends were hanging out, we could hear the music fine, but we could barely even see the stage.
Right.
You know, and obviously we probably could have found a better spot, but that's just kind of a, you know, a signal of how huge it is for Shane Smith, because we had tickets that had rolled over from one, because this was rescheduled. This was the third of like 3 attempts to schedule.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in April and then in June and then to October.
And you just let him ride the whole time.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
You like
they're
those
cheap
guys.
tickets. It's like $25 ticket. And, you know, I'll get out to Texas at any time I can. So it's an easy spur of the moment thing. But we basically had front row seats, and they set it up with kind of like small banquet tables where they had people sitting down at tables, you know, maybe 8 people per table just lined up near the stage. And it was cool. So that made it kind of pretty spaced out. I think people just knew how to act, you know, at this point. And to be able to go to a concert, it's kind of like, you know, you're like out on parole or something like that. Like,
don't screw it up.
Yeah.
I want to do the right thing.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of why I felt. Like,
it felt that way on last Wednesday.
So that was cool. I couldn't really tell too much what was going on in like the general area because it just didn't have to be there. We had servers coming through. There was a restroom real near me. So I just didn't have to, you know, migrate around too much. So in my area, again, to compare it to the pre-COVID, the pre was just people everywhere, and I happen to be in that Mass of Humanity and general admission. This one, I had better seats, but even still, I couldn't tell you as far as what they did in terms of, you know, limiting capacity. I mean, I know that they did. I just didn't know to what degree. So I'm sure that was a factor as well. And we just wanted to get there. So we got there early, you know, like we're excited. So we're in the door as soon as we possibly can, all that stuff that, again, pre-COVID, you just kind of stroll in before the show and have a good time.
Right.
For all of our listeners out there and all of our YouTube watchers, Billy Bob's is the world's largest honky tonk.
Okay.
At max capacity, it's right around 6,000.
Right.
So it is a huge, huge venue. And if you haven't been there, you got to check it out.
We'll have to do that sometime.
Yes.
Restaurant and they do rodeo, and you know it's a tourist attraction. So it was a cool thing to get to go to.
All right. So let's talk ASU football. Obviously, you can tell by his screen that he is a big ASU football fan.
And it is a big week for Arizona State and the Pac-12.
We're actually going to play. I didn't think this day would come.
Yeah. You know, thank goodness for the Big Ten getting started with football, because that's really what got the Pac-12 to get on board, because they're the last ones to jump back in.
You cannot play now, right?
Were you worried they weren't going to? I kind of was. I was like, oh, they're going to screw it up.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, with the leadership of the conference, sometimes you just never know what's going on. So, yeah, this was a day that after it got canceled, you really wonder if it would happen or if they would try something in the spring, which would have just been a horrible idea.
Right.
You know, it would have been maybe the safer idea, but just logistically a nightmare. But, yeah, I honestly didn't think we'd get here, but we are.
Especially when you consider the other conferences have all played as many games as ASU is going to play. So
yeah, like we were talking, you know, pre-show here, like you said, like it's very tight margin, and you can't mess it up because there's only so many games left because they're so late to the party, right?
Yeah, I mean, if for teams that are, I mean, I don't think the Pac-12 has a snowball's chance of getting the college football playoff, even if a team like Oregon went undefeated and won every game 70-0.
Right.
But if you have between, you know, player issues like what we're seeing with, you know, Trevor Lawrence and others to where, okay, yeah, they got to miss games, but it's not completely derailing their season. Or if that were to do things like what's happening with Wisconsin's kind of getting derailed because they're you know, that second level of a conference that's playing the fewest games. So
there's no built-in bias for us. We're kind of screwed if somebody gets
where
sick.
it ends is right up. You know, there's still a lot of bowl games that are being played, not all of them. There's still that, you know, attempted a college football playoff. So they basically have a hard stop there in December.
Right.
And you just have to figure the way things are going, whether it's within college football and just across the nation. Can you, with complete confidence, say that they're going to get through 7 games for 12 teams without any sort of speed bumps when it comes to, you know, the impact of COVID? It's tough to have a lot of confidence in that.
Yeah, they needed to have some built-in downtime, I suppose.
Or you have to have that bubble so tight, right? And so tight and so limited, which, you know, everybody's been talking about this since, you know, for the last couple of months. It's hard to control those 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds.
They're going to want to have a good time.
Of course.
I went to ASU. It took me 6 years. It was, you know, an overly good time at ASU.
But it dang near everything has to be perfect to make sure you run through that whole schedule. And you're right. I mean, if they run the table, do you think they might still? I know you said there might not. There's a snowball's chance, but do you think there could be for that Oregon team or any team that goes undefeated? I mean, do you really think they wouldn't give them a shot?
So I think it's got to be one of those upper tier teams. Like it's got to be an Oregon or USC. You know, I think that if it was a Cinderella thing, sadly, even if it was like an ASU, that would hurt because the preseason expectation isn't that high.
Right.
You're going to need some chaos going on across the nation, which we're kind of seeing. You know, you saw Oklahoma State drop one. You know, if Clemson perhaps loses to Notre Dame and then those teams get a little jumbled up there, you know, you could have. There's a trail that's getting there. I just think that if you have. My thought process has been that the committee would take like a one-loss. So let's say that if Notre Dame beats Clemson and then Clemson beats Notre Dame in the ACC championship game, that they'll take like those teams or either those teams over a 7-0 Pac-12.
Right. Or they may take a Cincinnati that runs the table and has been playing the whole time. Right? Cincinnati's hot right now.
Yeah.
You know, and they're playing really good football. They are, you know, and the defense is dominating.
And I think that the committee may have. You know, I think the East Coast bias or bias against the Pac-12 from whatever region of the country it is a generally real thing, and part of it is deservedly so, and that could be a thing that influences it as well. They just might be slightly biased against it to where they're going to look for any reason not to include a Pac-12 team.
Well, makes sense.
Yeah, totally. In some of these games now, we're seeing 20-some thousand people at these stadiums now that they've been playing for a while.
Yeah,
right?
It's bizarre. Some of these are stadiums you see 20, some you see none, or you see the cutouts, and it's just.
Which I'm all about the 20-some thousand or how many you can get in there or how many you want to get in there. But the Pac-12, right, fellas,
no fans,
is
right?
Not happening, right? 0 fans in any stadiums. Is that correct?
I think they kind of left the door open a little bit because, the initial announcement was like a firm. There's not going to be anybody. But I think they kind of stepped back on that a little bit under the radar. Like that hasn't been highly publicized, but people in the know are saying, they might reevaluate things down the stretch.
Really?
It's certainly not going to happen in the early, this first week, we're not going to see anybody in the stands. But, if we're here at the end of the year, ASU's playing in Tucson near the end, could there be some folks there? Maybe. I don't know that it would certainly surprise me, especially just the way that the leadership in the conference is going to have anything significant. I mean, maybe a 10%. Type of thing.
Right.
They've backpedaled on everything they've done this year, so they might as well allow some fans in, I suppose.
Are there any players on ASU that you can't wait to see perform? Because it's been a while, right? And spring, no, and then now is the latest ones to the game. Which one? Is there a couple players, their offense, defense? You're like, man, I can't wait to see these guys play on this Saturday. Yeah,
ASU is really going to have to count on some really young offensive skill players, but they're dang good ones. You've got a junior college transfer running back, Rashad White. Chip Trainham was a 4-star running back. Daniel Nagata is another the 4-star running back. They're loaded there. LV Bunkley Shelton is just like a small wide receiver that everybody is raving about. Johnny Wilson is the opposite of him. He's 6'7" at wide receiver that people are high on as well. Those guys could all be either starting or in the heavy rotation. So that they're going to rely on them, but the instant opinions so far are pretty high. They're very highly rated recruits. Obviously, you want to see what Jaden Daniels can do in year 2.
Has he put on any weight?
Yeah, he's up to. I mean, it's funny because I think if they were to have listed him more honestly what he weighed last year, it would make the game look more impressive.
I did see the depth chart. I did see the depth chart that just came out. So I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what they have him listed at. People have been talking about 185, but he was in like the 160s last year.
Wow.
It was. He just looked like a kid. He was
probably listed as 175. I don't think he was listed anywhere in the 160s last year, even though he was. So
soaking wet with his gear on, right?
It was amazing.
So. I remember watching it.
It was funny because we had, I guess, the Sun Angel Foundation equivalent on the week that NDSU played their one game, and we were talking about Trey Lance.
Yep.
And, Luke's like, he's great. You don't have a quarterback as good. And then he went and
he's
looked
like
at
the number
Jaden.
3 quarterback in the country.
And I'm like, I think our quarterback's pretty good. I think he's going to do all right when he finally gets drafted, when it comes time. And then you went back and you're like, yeah, you're right. He is pretty good.
Well, let's just talk about, we won't get into that quite yet.
Not
Trey Lance is 6'3", about 235.
He's a dude. Our kid's a kid. Like literally started at 165 running around.
But literally Trey Lance is only a redshirt sophomore.
That's true.
So he's just a kid as well.
He's just a kid. Can you imagine getting drafted that high as a kid?
No, it'd be awesome.
Right?
What is the prediction for Saturday?
Yeah, what do you think?
Against the USC Trojans at USC. The Sun Devils are rolling into town.
Does it matter that it's at USC? There's no one there, so.
Right.
Glorified scrimmage.
Right.
I mean, honestly, as a mild side note, that's what I was wondering, because you got to get, like Jack Jones, starting quarterback for ASU, was a 2-year starter for USC before he went to the JUCO level.
Right.
Chris Hawkins, ASU's defensive backs coach, super young guy. He was a senior at USC in 2017, and now he's an assistant coach on the staff. So, there's a lot of storylines that if the Coliseum were filled, that it would really play out pretty interestingly. And of course, ASU recruits Southern California very heavily. That's the focal point. But if people aren't there, is that going to affect what they have on the field? I don't know. I've talked to I had Jordan Simone on my podcast, former safety for ASU, and he said that when they're on the field, that it doesn't matter. So maybe it's not a fact. I
don't know. The first time I went to the Coliseum was back when NCAA football was on the Xbox. And they would get rattled when the crowd would get going out there. And I walked out there and I'm like, holy crap. I understand what getting rattled means, because it's like that fight song over and over again. The crowd's going nuts. It's like a miniature earthquake there. And now we're just taking all of that out and we're just getting to basics football. So I don't know.
Home field advantage.
9 a.m. start. What the heck, man?
Yeah, that's that's something that obviously for TV, try to get some kind of exposure for the conference. I know that Herm Edwards is been emphatic about the schedules that they maintain. That's not too far out of the ordinary, what I mean? So it's not taking them out of their comfort zone too much. I think that's something that would be a bigger deal, itself included, for fans. If there were a 9 a.m. kickoff to go to, that would be a pretty brutal situation where you just stay up all Friday night and don't even risk sleeping in.
What's California on right now? Is that 8 there? Or will that be?
So it's a 10 a.m. start in Arizona. Time change was just Sunday.
Oh, I'm going to have to hit my friend. All right, 10 a.m. is better.
Yeah, so it's a 9 a.m. in LA, 10 a.m. So we get a nice here in Tempe.
That's not bad. 10 a.m. I can do that.
That's good. The difference 9 and 10 on a Saturday, that could be pretty significant.
I can roll out of bed, roll down to the cigar shop, and turn on the TV and watch some ASU football.
So score prediction.
Yeah,
I was going to think of that because we're recording our podcast tomorrow night. It's tough for me to confidently go with an ASU win just because USC's offense is something special, and I think ASU, they're going to have to win a shootout to do that, and they might have the weapons over the course of the season and certainly ultimately as these guys progress in their career. But for game one, when you have all those newcomers that I mentioned, it's going to be tough to do when you have Keaton Slovis and all his receivers. So let's see. I was thinking of one because I was imagining you probably would have asked. So I'm going to say 35-27 USC. I'll say ASU covers because that spread's a little heavy.
It's like 10, right?
Or 10 to 11, something like that. That's a little much. ASU tends to play pretty close games under Herm Edwards for the most part.
Right.
Even in losses, they're pretty competitive. So, I'd say, a technically a one-score game. Yeah, about 35-27 cents.
Jared, what do you got? Prediction?
I don't know. I can't even. I think ASU's going to win. Now, here's what I wonder, Joe. Have we had more chances to practice or better practices because they're in California and we're here?
I think so, though I also saw, some reporting on Devil's Digest, the website that I contribute to that note, and it was something that, and it could be, under Trojan-colored glasses, but the beat writer for USC acknowledged it, but didn't make it seem like it was that big of a deal. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I just don't get the impression that it's something that is, dozens of practice days or things like that.
We are good at getting coaches fired from USC. So, if we come out and win right away, then we can work on getting Helton fired. And I know at least one of my big friends who's a big USC fan. His dad played there. Would love it. He just hates Helton with passion.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
What do you think?
It's in the whole hot seat thing. If coaches are going to get fired this year, if everybody gets kind of a gimme.
I think it is a gimme. It's a get out of jail free card this year.
Right.
But I do think this. I think it's going to be very close.
Right.
I think it's going to be sloppy football because it's both their first games out of this whole mess. Because originally all these teams that first played, they were all sloppy. You know, shoot, what was it? Navy that couldn't tackle anybody the first game. I remember seeing those highlights.
There's no NAU to beat up on the first game.
So I'm going to go ASU win 14-17.
14-17. Oh.
Low scoring, lots of turnovers probably. Can't score, and then kick a field goal at the end. ASU wins.
ASU 28, USC 21, and I'm going to sit there with my heart pounding away. Now, it'll probably turn out to be USC 28 and ASU 21, and the grand tragedy that is ASU will once again kick me.
You literally just changed your mind in the same sentence.
I did. Well, I'm going to go homer. That's why I don't bet. I don't ever bet ASU because
I went with ASU.
So, you know. So tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
I love it because it's like one of the first. It may be the only ASU podcast I actually listen to or know of.
It's one of those things going back to the origin of it. It's, necessity being the mother of invention. We started it, Brad, Denny, my co-host and I, we started it in August of 2011. So just gearing up for that 2011 season. You know, we're talking about Dennis Erickson and Vontaze Burfict.
Hey, I like both of those guys. I'm fans of both of those guys.
I remember walking out Erickson's last game saying, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm done.
And here you are.
And here I am still.
You did just say they're going to lose.
I do that. So. No, they're going to win. I count it here, you know, so.
What helped us, get a decent fan base was obviously there was a coaching change that year and people were, starved for information. And that time was kind of the infancy of Twitter, like its first few years that people were really using it. You know what I mean? So any kind of information folks were digging into. So, people just kind of grabbed on and stayed involved with it. And then Todd Graham had a decent run, of course, with especially his first 3 years. So there was some success people were following. So by the time we kind of, got our feet wet and figured out what we were doing, ASU was having some pretty good seasons and some really memorable moments. So folks were looking for everything they could get. And like you mentioned, it's something that's not really out there. Frankly, the talk radio around here is
not great.
Only going to give ASU attention if they are, a nationally elite team or making news for anything good or bad.
If I want my ASU news, I'm listening to Joe and Brad. I remember sitting around with Jared Brandt and Brad when you guys were just getting ready to start the podcast. We were smoking cigars and they were talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally in. I need that ASU extra information because you don't get it when you're listening to talk radio here.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because Brad and I were in the same fraternity at ASU, but neither of us really spent a ton of time in it. We're a little bit different in age. So I look back at these pictures, I'm like, holy crap, like we're in the I didn't even really know it until I thought back on it. But it's funny that we've been, kind of paired together through the show for nearly a decade now. But
it's crazy because we were looking at episode 262 is your latest one. We're like at 12. We're like, okay,
13
today. 13. We're happy.
Yeah.
How can our listeners find your podcast and anywhere else that they can find your information?
Yeah, so the podcast, like you said, Speak of the Devils, we're on just about every platform now. We ditched our song of the week so that we can be on Spotify.
Right.
I realized that was the thing that held us back is we always picked a regular song of the week, and that was the deal breaker. So we changed that. Virtually anywhere podcasts are available, Speak of the Devils. We're on Facebook, Speak of the Devils. We're SOTD Podcast on Twitter, pretty active there. Their Twitter and Facebook, as far as social media, are the biggest platforms that we keep up with. We have a lot of fun with. We try to be very engaging and that sort of thing, especially on Twitter. So no shortage of ways to catch us.
Have you thought about what our record's going to be this year?
So we did a round table deal last week. And we basically just went on, I think, the first 6 games.
Right.
Whatever it was, I picked 2 losses.
Okay.
I picked the loss to USC, and I just picked the, sinking my teeth into one inexplicable loss.
ASU loss, right?
Now makes no sense. And I just kind of arbitrarily picked Colorado, not necessarily because of them, but it's a road game, and it's a little later in the year, and the weather's probably going to be pretty rough with this schedule, and that usually doesn't treat ASU too well. So I kind of just threw that against the wall and it stuck. But
and then that 7th game's weird, right? Because 1 plays 2, 3 plays 4, and whatever.
Yeah, it'll be obviously a North opponent, and it'll be the mirror image ranking of wherever you are. So, of course, ASU only plays Cal from the North right now, but it could be a rematch. I mean, that's how they're picked. I believe in the media poll was ASU second and Cal second in the South and North. So it could be a rematch. Obviously it could be anybody else there.
All right. So, Luke, we're going to talk about India.
We have one last question for you. As we were talking earlier, pre-show, you know that I played at North Dakota State.
Yep.
So North Dakota State rolls down into Tempe, plays the Sun Devils. Who wins?
Oh man, I mean, you got to take ASU at home.
Right.
Wait. Let me stop you there. Trey Lance is playing. I know he's not going to play anymore. That's over. He's going to get drafted.
Right, this is the one
He'll
game
get drafted number 1.
They're coming out to play. I think
not Trevor Lawrence. Sorry, Trey Lance. He's probably drafted in the top 10.
Right.
So what do you think, Joe? What do you think?
ASU wins 49-48.
That's nice.
Cocky,
You'll take that, won't you?
Go for 2 after a touchdown to win the game, and they don't convert the 2-point conversion.
Nice.
I'll take. Hey,
it's the entry that they need to the FBS.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call our AD at North Dakota State. If you can get a hold of your AD, let's try to make this happen. And probably won't be until 2026, 2027,
2035
when the schedules open up again.
Right, yeah.
I think we need to make this happen.
Do you think they'd ever actually play, Joe? Or do you think we're a little?
I don't believe that they have. I'm fairly confident.
They've never played.
Right?
No. I wonder if they would. Or is NDSU just too good of a small program?
Oh, for ASU to play them?
Yeah. Well, Oregon's played them.
Oregon, they were scheduled to play Oregon this season. On the opener.
They could have had a shot there.
I think Oregon just uses COVID as an excuse
to get out there.
That's a joke, people. That's a joke.
So I'm going to ask Luke's question. If you could do anything right now in the world, minus no COVID, what would you be doing?
Oh my goodness. Okay. It would have to be getting ready to go see an ASU game in person. So let's say the schedule were different and they were, hosting somebody, that would really be it, because it's going to be very weird this Saturday,
right?
But it's going to be really weird
when they're at home
next Saturday when they're playing in Tempe, and that'll be the first.
Can I just go tailgate?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I know that ASU is certainly not going to encourage it. I don't know if it's something that is it like drinking in a parking lot on a Saturday afternoon, to where it's like, dude, that's illegal.
Right. Has to be. Well, there's a game day going on. I don't know. Have to look in the list.
No, that's a heck of a question.
I don't know. I've just been looking at all my Facebook memories right now, and it's all tailgating ASU football. Instead, it's just me sitting at home watching The Mandalorian, which is not bad.
If I'll throw in a non-sports one or a non-concert one, since I already did that. So me and my buddies went to the Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios in Hollywood last year, because ASU played at UCLA last year right around Halloween. So we just did a double shot, and that thing was awesome. I mean, it was one of those deals that I thought I was going to have a good time, but it was just a really, really cool experience. Obviously, they canceled that this year. Me and my buddies, obviously Halloween last week, we were kind of grinding our gears about missing that this year. So if I had to throw in kind of a wild card thing that I'd also be doing or will have, wish I could have done, that goes up there too.
That's cool.
All right, Joe, you were great.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Everybody who's listening, check out any ASU football information that you need. Head over to Speak of the Devils, from their podcast to their Facebook page to their Twitter. Mr. Joe Healey, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. And you know what? We'd love to probably have you on later on.
Yeah, if you want to come in, you come into our little studio.
Guys.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Go Devils. All right, we are throwing dough into Ralphie's top 3. This is where we give Ralphie the top 3 topic. He gives us his top 3. He is with us right now on Zoom. Ralph, you're looking mighty well shaven today. Those of you who are just listening, jump over to YouTube and check out Ralphie. He's like clean shaven Ralphie today.
I was all about the voting today, so I wanted to make sure I looked as close to the ID as possible. So I hope those are 20s, Jared.
They weren't.
Dollar bills.
We were throwing dough. I threw you what I thought you might be worth. Couple bucks. Couple slices there.
Look, maybe it's
at least it's not changed.
That's true.
That's true.
Maybe it's the lack of glasses today. I don't know. There's something that's well shaven, no glasses. I mean, look at that.
Get the baby blues out here.
Look at that. Watch out, ladies.
Rocking it.
All right, Ralphie, are you ready for your top 3?
Yep.
All right, here we go. You know, and today is election day. For those of you who know, we usually cut the show on Tuesdays, right? So today is election day. And in honor of election day, give us your top 3 presidents of all time, Ralphie. Hit it.
Number 3.
Top 3 presidents. Let's go Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
Oh, way back.
Way back.
Way back.
Ended slavery. Won the Civil War.
Yeah.
What do you like about Abe? You like the hat, don't you?
The hat. He liked to go to the theater.
I don't think he liked to go to the theater.
Too early? Is it too early?
Yeah.
It's a little too early.
Probably.
Number 2.
2, I'm going to go Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, number 2.
No. 2? I don't even want to know what your number 1 is.
I don't want to go too controversial here.
Reagan controversial.
Sad and argue. I'm gonna go with,
so you're going to go with Obama?
Wait. Are we still on 2, right?
Ronald Reagan.
Okay, hit that. Ralphie's favorite president of all time due to the election today. What is it?
George Washington.
The original.
The OG.
The original.
Man, he was like president for like 10, 20 years.
10, 20 years. Won a couple wars. Had a great hairdo.
What do they teach in history? That
was great. Well done.
Number 1.
George Washington.
Bush.
How about that?
George Washington Bush.
Yeah, you're like George Bush. Jared's not feeling it today.
I'm not.
Jared's a hyped up political guy. He's a little nervous.
Yeah.
Are you a little nervous today? I don't know.
I just
mixed feelings.
Sort of want it to be over with.
Feelings. Really?
I think, but it won't be over with. And
Let's,
it's going to go on for another 4 or 5 months, and then
4 or 5 months.
Yeah, because they're going to.
Something.
The lawyers are going to argue about all the voting.
Speaking of the lawyers.
Jerks.
Always trying to plug himself.
Who's your favorite president of all time?
I'd go Reagan.
Your number dose.
Yeah. So
wow.
When I was a kid.
I voted today.
So did I.
So did Jared.
Somewhere. When I was a kid, my mom was a Republican Party chairwoman for our county, maybe our state.
In Wyoming.
And for the entire 8 years Reagan was president, we got a Christmas card from him. So the first one that came had like 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue on it. And
write that down. 1600.
That's the address for the White House, right? Okay. Just making sure. So you're a kid and you see the White House there and you're like all excited. And then my mom's like, no, they just want money. And then she opened it up and it was the real deal. So we've got 8 years of Christmas cards from Reagan. So that pretty much seals the deal when you're a kid.
Does she still have them?
Yeah, she does.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we could get a shot of that next week on YouTube. The official Christmas card from Ronald Reagan.
I'll see if she can find them.
How cool would that be?
They are pretty cool.
And we'll give your mom a shout out on the show.
Moms. Yeah, I don't know where they are.
I bet she has them. She probably is looking at them right now on election day. She's like, I remember this guy.
Nah, they usually come out around Christmas time because.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah,
it's November.
There. Yep. We'll fill that out. So, who is yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Of all time?
Yep.
Teddy Roosevelt. Woo!
Walk tall, carry a big stick.
That's right. Conservationalist. Theodore National Park in North Dakota, the Badlands.
The Monroe Policy.
Watch out. Watch out.
I like it. I like it.
How about that? I loved his glasses too. He's a tough guy. Mainly he's a tough guy. I like
tough guy.
Tough guy.
Tough guy. He is a tough guy.
Not like, sensitive guy. I'm tough guys. Yeah, I'm all about it.
Did we decide that?
I didn't quite.
You didn't get that far in the research?
Look that up on that one. There is a hill somewhere in there. I believe it was in Cuba.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, he charged it.
He charged the hill.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a
reenactment at Theodore the musical at Medora. I'll give them a plug. Theodore National Park, Medora musical has a reenactment of Teddy Roosevelt himself. Obviously, it's an actor, but he actually charges up the hill with the horse and everything. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, we've been there.
Is
Ralph's
it just
probably been
him,
there.
or is it a bunch of people around him? Or?
Oh, it's like a 2-hour show. It's a musical, and they do all kinds of. It's kind of like it's a Midwestern theme, frontier theme, and then it talks about Theodore Roosevelt history. And there's an actor that is Theodore Roosevelt himself, and he's the MC. And they usually do have some acts. Sometimes it's country music stars. Sometimes it's up and comers in between. Sometimes it's shows from Vegas, like where they're jugglers or comedians.
Oh, really?
And then they go back into the musical, and then he charges the hill, and
You're done.
you're off to downtown having a good time.
That sounds like fun.
It is, actually.
All right.
Ralphie, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Happy election day to you.
Go vote.
Get out there and vote.
Rah, rah, rah.
See ya.
Bye, Ralphie.
ND Country Fest 2021 is coming back stronger and better than ever with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Little Texas, featuring Diamond Rio, Leroy Parnell, John Michael Montgomery, with more coming soon. Plan now to attend Dakota's largest and nation's fastest growing country music and camping festival, ndcountryfest.com.
Sponsored by Coors Light, Action Motorsports, New Vision Security, Trans Trash, Smithworks, and American Family Insurance, DJ Coulter Agency.
Let's bounce into stage left, Jerry.
I forgot you played drums. You just went a little bit crazy there in the commercial. You got to catch that on the YouTube.
Okay, we told them we were going to do our Halloween update and tell the folks what we did and what we thought of Halloween. What do you got, Jared?
Well, I think more important, you made it into a football game. Right?
Oh, shoot, that's right.
Right? You finally used some wily connections, made some phone calls, and you and your kid got to go see some football.
Yes, Van and I finally got into a high school football game. I was like, you know what? It was Friday afternoon, and I was like, I'm just going to call. So I just called the school. I called the athletic department.
That's
and
how we get everything, right?
You don't know unless you ask. So I just said, hey, is there anything that I can do? We can volunteer. We've been trying to get in. We're the two guys that have been out the fence the whole time. He's like, oh, you two guys? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be us.
Poor little guys with please, please
playing
can we
football
see a
outside the fence, trying to put my kid on my shoulder so he could see the game. Yeah, that's me. He's like, you know what we can do is let me get you to the booster club person.
Right.
And then maybe they can find a spot to help volunteer. I go, we'll do anything. We'll just help. We just want to be inside the gate, not outside the gate.
Make a fat donation to.
I'm sure.
Where'd you go? Liberty?
No, it was O'Connor. That's where Van would go to high school. My kids would go to high school.
Okay.
So Stetson Hills is literally like where they go to elementary school is like 4 blocks away.
Oh, so it's close.
Yeah. So we roll in and we didn't roll in. We get a text then from the booster club president, and they were like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you. We always need extra help. Thanks for actually reaching out to us. Meet us at the concession stand at 6 o'clock." We get there at 6 o'clock. Actually, you'll enjoy this.
Okay.
I didn't tell you this.
Okay.
So I have his little football.
Yeah.
And then we walk into the gate, and there's these guys with these golf carts, and I'm sure they're the athletic directors, right? And they were like, can I help you guys with something?
Right.
And I was like, I looked at him, and I had his little leather football. I mean, it's legit.
It's
right?
a legit football.
And Van's next to me, and he's 10, right?
Right.
And they go, can I help you gentlemen with something? And I'm like, yeah, actually, we're here to deliver the game ball. Where exactly do we go? To the 50-yard line?
What did they say? Did they even know how to respond?
No, they did not think it was funny whatsoever. They were like,
what are you talking about?
I'm like, hey, we're here to help out. We're looking for the booster club president. We're here to work. And they're like, oh, you got to go around. And I'm like, oh, well,
okay.
You didn't like the game ball?
That's a good joke, right?
I was like, if they let us in, we're still walking in then. But I would have stopped. But that was funny. We go in and we see the booster club president, and it's my brother's neighbor.
What?
Yeah, totally.
Just
random. No clue. Didn't have a clue. She was awesome. She said, hey.
You think Scotty would have just said something about that?
Well, I don't think he knew.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think he knew at all.
No.
That she was running the booster club.
It's
because his kids go to a different school.
Second degree of Kevin Bacon separation.
Wouldn't that be like first degree?
You're a second.
Because I do know her.
Oh, I guess it'd be a first, yeah.
How about that?
That's pretty good. You're learning.
So anyway, she was super cool. And she was like, wow, I can't believe it's you guys and all that. And she's like, hey, the biggest pain is taking down the flags at the end and nobody really wants to do it. If you guys could do that, then that would be awesome for us. And there's only like 12 flags.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, consider it done.
Did you get on the field and throw the ball around? Yeah.
So he played with his little buddies. It was fun. He got to play during the game in the back of the bleachers, experience all that kind of stuff. The game was over. He came up. I watched the whole game. It was awesome. It was beautiful out. It was like 80-degree night. pulled all the flags. We threw them in the press box, and you bet we went down and played for 15 minutes under the lights. It was just us.
Lights,
it was awesome.
That's got to be great.
So it's cool. We're in, and we're in from every home game from now on.
So it's starting to feel like normalcy or normality.
So now that you say that, when I was in the stands and I could see my son playing with his, 3 other buddies from school, and they're how little kids usually play.
Yeah, having a good time running around.
Yeah, or they're playing football in the back of the bleachers where there's clear, they're throwing the ball around, having a blast, laughing. And then I see them later on, and they're at the concession stand, and then they're sitting down by the track and eating. And I'm like, that is as normal as you can get right there.
Especially on a Friday night.
Yeah, totally. So I thank you all. Thank you all, Connor High School. Thank you for letting us
letting Luke and the
volunteer
kid in
and be a part of it, and that was great. So
How
that
stoked was he?
Oh, well, he was on the verge of I don't want to go anymore. We can't even get in.
Yeah, we get told no.
This isn't that much fun anymore. I mean, we can only.
You got to teach him that Schaefer persistency.
Oh, I wasn't gonna give up. No, we were going, and then there it was, and I said, "Hey, we're going to the game." He's like, "Are we going in? Or are we staying out?"
Hey, did you get that in when we were talking with Joe earlier about they might allow some fans in to the ASU game?
Of course I did. I was hoping you would probably.
That's a little door open to getting you and Ben on the field.
Ball boys,
right?
I can still rip it.
We gotta do it.
Halloween was awesome in our neighborhood. I'll jump into that.
Yeah,
it was cool. We had more trick or treaters according to my neighbors who count. We were usually all over the place, and we had a fog machine going and decorations going and music going and all that.
Pretty festive.
It was extremely festive. We had live music. Some of our neighbors down the street around the corner had their band going, and it's a Fleetwood Mac cover band, which is awesome. I love Fleetwood Mac. Landslide came on, and I was just loving it. And I was singing with them, not with them, but I was in the crowd.
Right.
In the crowd of, there's probably 30, 40 people in the street.
Rolling there?
Yeah, they rolled it out right on their driveway, and then everybody else is just
And your neighborhood has gone large for Halloween since the first of the month, or first of October. I noticed that.
That's right.
I mean, behind the scenes, I go to your house, we drive here together and talk about what we're going to do for the podcast. And I remember October 1st looking around going, oh, wow, I didn't realize Halloween was an October 1st decoration. Get them up and ready to go.
Oh, yeah. People wanted it bad.
Our neighborhood, I didn't know what to expect, right? So Friday night, went down to Costco. I got 2 of the big bags of candy, because in the past, our neighborhood kind of goes large and crazy, and we've been short, and I had to run out to Walgreens or CVS and get whatever they could.
You get the candy corn?
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. Did you see I asked you to bring in candy corn today, jerk?
I saw there were $1. I had to grab some.
I opened one, had a few of them, and then got rid of them. But we bought the 2. I
think the light jumper guys got them.
Did you? Got the candy corn? Eat all that stuff.
Trace was like...
I don't.
Yes, why? Thank you. I appreciate that.
Didn't get toilet paper today because apparently
there's none available.
Not available again. Are we going back through that mess right now?
No, you know what it was? Everybody toilet papered everybody's house. Is that what it was? That's what it was. That's what I think it is. Yep, that's totally what it is.
So came home and the current Mrs. Bennett usually goes nuts about Halloween, and this year was a little tamped down. So normally,
what about the prior Mrs. Bennett? What did she do?
There's no prior. It's been only one for 25 years.
I thought I was digging in on that good secret of yours.
There's no good secrets there.
You do have warm hands, though.
I do have warm hands.
That's what I heard.
We missed that.
I was trying to bring it back.
So then, that'll be great.
Mrs. Bennett.
The current Mrs. Bennett. So normally what she does is she gets...
You were thinking about the prior Mrs. Bennett right there.
I was is there a prior Mrs. Bennett?
Was I?
So then we get these neon bracelets.
There was ginger.
Simmer down. There's no ginger. So those neon bracelets and that stuff that kids love? Mm-hmm. She always gets that. She always goes way large and just does a huge swag bag of stuff. And this year she hadn't done any of it. And it's like Friday night. I'm getting a little nervous. She usually has bags and all of that. Somewhere about 2:00 on Saturday, I'd done all the yard work. She started to get ready. And so she only did half of what she normally does. So she has a graveyard with all these witty sayings like,
rest in peace.
I'm with stupid ran with scissors. All those sorts of witty sort of things. And people love coming through and reading them.
Oh,
but she only did half. Right. And then she put all the bags together, 8 pieces of candy or whatever. She just gave it all away.
Right.
And then about 5, when people normally come, we didn't have anybody. I was getting nervous.
Yeah.
And about 6:30, the wave came, and we are one of those people that count. So we had about 66 people roll through.
That's good.
And that was good. That was, you know, a little more than half of what we did last year. But it was our house, our new neighbors across the street. The guys next to us had a party, and it was fun just walking back and forth and talking to people and being social.
Yeah,
and having a good night. And then I got big time. Did I tell you this?
Yes, you did. I was going to mention it in case you did.
I got big time at my own house.
By your own friends.
By my own friends.
By our own Light Jumper Media guys.
Light Jumper Media comes to my house, and nobody tells me that Light Jumper Media is at my house. Did you even know you were at my house, Trace? Why didn't you say anything?
He's like, oh, yeah.
I'm just in the backyard drinking and smoking a cigar, watching a movie. And I come back in and I'm like, hey, did Maddie come by? And she's like, yeah, she came by.
Maddie came by, Trace came by.
Like, who was she with? And she's like, well, she was with Jacob. I'm like, really? Why didn't you tell me? And then she had this friend Trace and his girlfriend. I'm like, you know, those are the guys that shoot our podcast, right? I probably should have come out and said hi. And she's like, oh, sorry, Bennett. And that's it. That's the only response was just sorry, Bennett. So next time, guys, when you show up at my house, make sure you tell the current Mrs. Bennett that you're here.
You should just say, next time I see the Amazon guy come, I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to.
I'm going to throw it away.
That was funny. So.
To clean up the decorations for her.
Did you?
Yeah.
At the end, you were there.
Guys,
he was there longer than an hour.
You guys cleaned up the decorations? Jeez.
Oh, you came late.
Well, yeah. She's like, oh, I'll take care of it. And I'm like, I'm going to go back and watch a little TV by the pool and let me know if anything happens. And she didn't until the next day. And then I learned the Light Jumper guys were there.
Either way, it was a great Halloween, though.
It was. I was.
People were festive. People were excited. People were enjoying life.
Felt good. I think, you know, we get past today. Maybe we can get some change going or something.
You said past today because it's election day.
It's election day.
Did we mention that?
Oh, do you have regular TV?
Do I have regular? Just define regular TV.
Do you have cable or are you?
No, Hulu.
So, you know, I don't know what it'd be like on regular TV right now, but I just am dying to get past the YouTube commercials of every 4 ones, you know, vote for Mark Kelly, vote for Mark Kelly. Like, vote for this, vote for that, vote for this. or the nonstop text messages.
You know what I might miss it and I might not, but my kids reiterating the commercials.
That's how bad they are.
Like our littlest 7-year-old Quinn, it's the girl.
She's cute.
And she came in. This is like months ago, right?
Right.
And she goes, "Hey, you guys," in like a deep voice. She goes, "Joe Biden is weak." I was like, "Where did you hear that?" It's like we laugh. So I'm like, where did you hear that? At school?
Is it the bald dude that like Joe Biden's weak for?
I have no idea. I haven't seen it. And she was like, I saw it on a YouTube.
It's got to be the same YouTuber. It plays nonstop.
And that's legitimate. I didn't make that up. I put my wife, whoever, all my kids on, and she literally said that. And I was like, we were dying laughing.
So this time next week, we may have a new president, or we may have an old president, or we may still just be arguing with each other.
I don't know. It's yet to find out. But by the time people are hearing this and watching on YouTube,
do you think
it'll already exist?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
How do they find us, Jared?
Podcast, Apple Podcasts. Go there, subscribe, review, get together. We're supposed to do cheesy call to actions and, you know, leave us a comment, do something, get involved with us, guys. Talk about what you like on our, I don't know. Tell us your favorite Tracy Bird song.
Hey, yeah, that is cool.
You know, we need a good 50 subscribers to get Ralphie in a
nurse's outfit.
So if you know somebody who's not subscribed, subscribe for them.
Definitely subscribe, hit it up. Let's get to those 100. Let's do that. And obviously you can find us on wherever you find your podcasts that you listen to.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, here we go, man. So if you're about to like what you're about to hear, that's our boys from Quaker City Nighthawks. Here's to you. Here's to me. You know the rest.